Hi, I'm Anna Dixon, MP for Shipley, and this is my first Facebook Live. And we are going to be taking some questions live, as well as me chatting a little bit about what I've been up to in Parliament. And I'm also got a member of the team who's monitoring the chat, so we'll be able to take some questions from the feed. We're just going to wait for a few people to join, so just get settled, and thanks very much for joining me this afternoon. So thanks for those of you joining this afternoon for my first Facebook Live since I've been elected MP. The video will also be available, so some of you may be watching this afterwards, recorded. So welcome everybody, and thanks for those of you who submitted questions in advance. I'm going to take those first, and then we'll get on to any questions that you're posting live in the chat as we go. So just we'll get going. I thought before we get into questions, it might be helpful just to give you a little bit of update of what I've been up to since I was elected back on July the 4th. So it's been a really busy period. Obviously I've been very active in Parliament, not only doing my maiden speech, but also speaking in the debate on the winter fuel and raising questions about issues that are really important to people here. So I've participated in debates on fly tipping, on unpaid carers, on SEND provision, so special educational needs provision, and I've also been able to put questions directly to ministers in Parliament about things like NHS waiting lists, violence against women and girls. I've also been getting myself set up here in the constituency, so I've had to find an office. So I'm pleased to say I'm now set up with an office in Shipley and hiring some staff to help, particularly with casework and helping me to reply to you when you write to me about a whole variety of issues. So we have been working through the backlog. I know some of you have been very patient waiting for responses, so we are getting onto that. I think we've had some 15,000 emails last we counted since I was elected, so it's been a very, very busy time. I've also been lobbying on issues locally, so you may have read in the newspapers about the black hole in the finances that we found, where a lot of commitments had been made by the last government which actually were unfunded. When we looked, there actually wasn't any plans for how that was going to be funded. So a number of things have been put under review. So one of them is a hospital review looking at the capital projects. So I met with Wes Streeting and really urged him that we needed to prioritise Airedale Hospital, in particular because of the problems of the aerated concrete. And I've had a chat with the chief executive at Airedale Hospital just to understand about those exciting new plans for a new hospital to replace the one that is crumbling. And any of you I know who have been to Airedale, you'll have seen, props up, keeping ceilings up. So I really pressed that should be a priority, and I'm really pleased that I secured a commitment that the RAC hospital, that Airedale, will be outside the review, which means that it will get the funding to go ahead. So that's really fantastic. I've also been talking to Northern, so this was a campaign that I was running before the election to reinstate more regular services on the Baildon line. Now, they haven't gone as far as we'd like in terms of reinstating the half-hourly service at off-peak times, but they have agreed that they will be reinstating the school return train from Menston, which is going to be fantastic. I know a lot of parents and children in Baildon will be able to use that service, so that's really good news. Hopefully some of you have seen me out and about community events. I've really enjoyed getting out over the summer to various fairs, and obviously horticultural shows have been coming up recently, so Baildon, Saltaire Festival, Bingley, Menston, Eldwick, Collingworth and Rose. So it's been great to get along to lots of community events, and obviously I'll be doing the same over coming months as we head into Christmas. So hopefully an opportunity to see you out and about. So I think probably we'll come to some of the other issues in the Q&A. So I'll get on to the first question. So I've been given questions here from my team. So quite a few about Bingley Pool. So clearly this again was one of those projects, promises made just before the election, which didn't have actually any funding behind them. So all of these levelling up, so-called levelling up bids, which included Bingley Pool, are subject to review. So I am very keen, clearly, to make sure that we do get that regeneration in Bingley, we get that leisure facility and swimming pool back. So I've been working really hard. I've written to the relevant minister. I've asked for a meeting, which I hope when I return to Parliament we will be able to secure, so that I've been pressing the case of the importance of that facility to Bingley. But it's not just Bingley, it's a Bradford-wide issue. We don't have enough swimming facilities, so it's really important compared to other parts of the country that we get additional swimming facilities and we get that back. So I did manage to raise this in Parliament. I asked a question, and I've been meeting both with the Bingley councillors, who I know have been working on this issue now very closely for a number of years, and with the Friends of Bingley Pool. So I'm going to continue to work with the Friends of Bingley Pool and the Bingley councillors to really push the case for why that regeneration should attract capital funding. But obviously it is going to have to be looked at alongside a lot of other demands. So filling that 22 billion is going to be part of the challenge that the Chancellor is facing at the upcoming budget. So we'll hopefully keep pressing the case ahead of the budget, and we'll get some more news then. So thanks for all your questions, and continue to raise this issue with me, but please be assured I'm very much on it. So thanks. So next question, happy for me to just pick up. I think a few questions about winter fuel payments. So as I mentioned, obviously this was announced in the August, again in response to trying to close this gap, and it came back for debate in Parliament on my return in September. And so I wanted to convey some of the strength of feeling that constituents were raising with me, not only through correspondence but also on the doorstep, people who were concerned about missing out on the winter fuel payment. From my own work in ageing, I obviously appreciate some of the particular challenges that older people who may be spending more time in their home, particularly if they have mobility or chronic conditions. And so I've been pressing the government, both privately and publicly. You'll have seen I wrote a letter to the Chancellor and Liz Kendall, who's the Secretary of State for Work and Pensions, to really set out some of the issues and that I wanted to see the government taking action. So the particular one is pension credit. So obviously now it's people who are on pension and credit. The poorest pensioners will still get winter fuel payments. But we know there's a gap, that some people who are eligible for pension credit are not getting it. And I think there are some estimates for here in Shipley. I've been talking to Age UK, Bradford, as well as Citizens Advice about this concern. And what I'm really pleased to say is that both locally but nationally, huge effort now is going in to get people who are not signed up for pension credit to be able to get on pension credit. And actually, for me, that's a really big win that's coming out of this, to make sure that the poorest pensioners are getting what is their due. We're also encouraging people through this process to check whether they're eligible for things like attendance allowance. So if you are in a household where somebody has a disability and you're a pensioner, you may be eligible for attendance allowance and carers allowance. And those will also perhaps change your circumstances so that you could be eligible for pension credit. So my advice really is, if you are affected yourself, you're not sure whether you're eligible, please contact the DWP hotline. If you need advice, there are local organisations like Age UK and Citizens Advice who are doing advisory work to help you do that sort of benefit assessment. or check with friends, family or neighbours. Anybody you're concerned about, please do check and encourage them to find out if they are eligible, and I'm really pushing that message. So I want to just add a few other things that I've been doing, particularly around this issue of winter fuel. So the other group that I've put on record that, you know, very concerned about are those people who are just above the pension credit. And I do know that there are people who are still on relatively small pensions who get above that cliff edge, and that can put you in a really difficult situation because there are lots of things that you're then not eligible for additional support. So what we're trying to do there is ensure that the Household Support Fund, and I'm written to Bradford Council about this, to make sure that that money is going into supporting particularly that group of pensioners. So that is a way that this government have extended the Household Support Fund, so we have found money for that. The big picture is that, you know, and why I actually voted, you know, with the government is one, we have to find some savings, and I do think, and I speak to pensioners who've written to me saying they didn't need the money, and actually it's a good thing that we're taking that away from being a universal benefit and focusing on those who are most in need. But it is the fact that we're able to keep the triple lock, so that overall the main thing is that we want to make sure all pensioners, you know, are not facing fuel poverty or any sort of poverty, because we're lifting the state pension and making sure that all pensioners are better off. So I think the expected increase in April is going to be 8.5%. So that's really important. And obviously there's lots of other things that we are doing around home insulation and getting people's bills down. So please do keep getting in touch with me if you have any questions about that, and just be assured that I keep raising this issue, and I want to make sure that everybody gets through this winter and doesn't have to make difficult choices about heating. So the support is out there, so please be assured. Right, so we've got a few more questions coming in, so thank you. So I think a few people have been asking me about what my priorities in MP are. So as a candidate, I went out talking to people about your concerns and issues, and that informed the platform I stood on as a candidate, the 5 priorities. And so those are the priorities that I am taking with me into being an MP. So clearly we want to revitalise our high streets and town centres. I've had my first Shipley Town Board meeting, and I'm delighted to be going along tomorrow to the reopening of the Kergate Centre here in Shipley, which I hope will provide a really upgraded facility for the community. So there's lots more to do, but you know, very keen to make sure that these projects that are funded through the Towns Fund really do generate the opportunities on the high street. In terms of the environment, very clear there that I want to take action to end sewage dumping in the river and the wharf. So I've been linking up with the Ilkley Clean River group in Parliament, meeting with Fergal Sharkey, who's a great campaigner on this issue, and obviously I'm delighted that Labour government, as one of their first priorities, have introduced the water bill, which is going to toughen up regulation and also clamp down on some of the CEO bonuses that Yorkshire Water and other private companies, water companies, are taking. I've met with Yorkshire Water and I've secured a further meeting with them, so I'll keep pressing the issue that they need to be cleaning up the mess and not charging customers for it. In terms of my priority about NHS and care, I've been meeting, as I've mentioned, with some of the chief executives of the local NHS organisations, and also raising issues in Parliament around NHS dentistry and the need for more investment in care in the community. Are we apologising for a bit of background noise? I'm not sure if it's getting picked up on my Facebook Live, but it seems that they've decided to empty the bins just at this time, so we'll try and make sure we reschedule the next Facebook Live not to coincide with the bin emptying at the offices. So anyway, thanks for sticking with us. So that's the third priority, NHS. Fourth priority is around neighbourhood policing, and again I've had already a lot of correspondence but also contact with the local police where I've been able to raise concerns about antisocial behaviour, about some of the dangerous road users, and we've had some hotspots already in Bales and around Esholt that the police have met with the Operation Steerside team, who do a lot of seizing of those illegal vehicles. So I've been able to directly input into some of the local policing decisions. But obviously it will take investment from national government, and I'm very pleased that Labour are committed to finding investment for more neighbourhood police. The final priority, just to touch on, was around our schools and mental health hubs for our young people. And I think this is a topic that will keep coming up as I speak to parents and young people. Really, how do we help those young people who are struggling, coming out of COVID, challenges of social media, stresses at school. There are a lot of difficulties that young people are facing today, and I'm really delighted that the Labour government have made this as well a top priority, with investment in young futures hubs that are coming, that are going to put in mental health support alongside other support, and also getting more specialists, specially trained staff who are going to be able to work in the community children and mental health services. So be assured, education is a big priority. It's fantastic at conference hearing our Secretary of State for Education, Bridget Phillipson, just talking about the importance of giving every child an opportunity, and I really want to see that for our children here in Shipley, and I will continue to advocate particularly for parents of children who have some special or additional need, to make sure that they're getting the support in mainstream schools, but also that specialist support. So those are a few of the questions that have been coming in, so hopefully that's given you a really good taste of some of the issues I've been working on. I'm just going to check if we've got any more coming in through the live chat. So thank you for joining. Please do continue to interact. If you want to subsequently post questions, or if you're listening back to this after the live event and you have further comments or questions for me, then we will continue to monitor this chat after the live event has finished, and we'll be following up and responding to those. Or you can always email me. I think the email address is behind me here, anna.dixon.mp@parliament.uk. So we will be able to get back to you and answer any questions you have, and if you have specific individual needs, we will do our best to help you with those as well. But yeah, please keep getting in touch, and any feedback on the live, what you'd like to see next time. Hopefully we'll try this again, and at a different time, and hopefully some of you will come back, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.